Yo, top Billin. Man, I want you guys to put your thinking caps on today and be more of a general manager slash scout, right? So me and my boy, my big brother, Kenyatta Watson, was sitting around talking about this James Williams kid. Man, we've known about this kid for a few years now, right? So he's been on the scene heavy for a long time, and I see now he's being switched to athlete after being the number one safety in the country for, man, Lord knows how long, for the 2021 class, right? So he's on the verge of going to Georgia. If all things shake out or whatever like that, he would definitely be a Georgia Bulldog, but, man, it's been like that for a long time now. So I think Miami possibly could have something to say about that, but I doubt it, right? Georgia's just the number one recruiting conglomerate. I'm going to continue to hammer this home. Nobody recruits better than the University of Georgia. Nobody, especially when we're talking about recruiting on the defensive side of the ball, but just recruiting overall. But the defensive side of the ball, nobody's messing with the University of Georgia. Now, on-field coaching, that's a totally different thing, right? So, but as far as having rosters, Georgia will have the top roster because it recruits the best. But with that being said, a guy like James Williams, I want you guys to really let me know what you think about a guy who is 6'5", 220 pounds, entering his senior season. Right? The closest person I can remember was somebody I like coming up, and he was an absolute freak. Played at the Mecca, and that is one Pat Watkins. You dudes remember Pat Watkins? That dude was the truth at Florida State. He went on to play for a few years in the league, right? But he had a very similar hype coming out of high school, if I can remember, from Tallahassee, Florida. So another Florida kid right there. But check this out, right? There's a thing, man, when you're 6'5", 200, and he was 6'5", 211 pounds, and ran a 4.42. So he was a legitimate freak, right? Well, he weighed 211 pounds, so he was a very good athlete. You know what I'm saying? You got to take in consideration weight as well, right? I think of freaks. I think about guys running that like a Jadeveon Clowney. That's a freak. You're 250, 260-something pounds. But if you can see here, your man Pat Watkins, he only lasted like 4 or 5 seasons in the NFL, right? And then he went to Canada, and he was a 5th-round draft pick. You know why? Because a 6'5" safety can be targeted in matchups. Imagine him having to guard guys in the slot like Julian Edelman, or even if they put somebody like Jerry Jeudy in the slot, he's not going to be able to transition with those guys. Football is not straight line speed. Football is about angles. It's a game of angles. So that's when the point of diminishing returns happen. Another guy that I was thinking about, y'all remember this cat from Virginia Tech named Aaron Rouse? That was my dude, too. I love me some Aaron Rouse, man. But he was 190 pounds coming out of high school. Keep in mind, James Williams is already 220 pounds. Think about it. So one thing we don't have is measurables on this kid as far as time, speed, and everything. I'll be interested to see his 40 time for sure, but I want to see some of these splits and agility types or whatever like that as well. So, man, I just don't know, man. At 220 pounds, when he gets in a strength and conditioning program, especially like at the University of Georgia, he could very well be 230, 235 pounds. So a 6'5", 235-pound safety, yeah, that doesn't make much sense. I know people are going to say somebody like a Cam Chancellor or whatever like that, but he wasn't 6'5". He's probably more like a 6'2" and 7/8 or something like that. But 6'5" is a different animal. But if you think about it, if you think that he's a freak athlete, you become even freakier the closer you are to the line of scrimmage, right? So it would look freaky just because of his height, but his actual speed and athleticism, as we see on tape, I don't think he looks that explosive to me, but he would look extremely explosive like at an outside linebacker spot. If we're talking about Georgia's base, odd front alignment, him at a 3-4 outside linebacker, nasty. Absolutely nasty. You're talking about Von Miller type athleticism. I don't doubt that a guy like Von Miller or some of these outside linebackers in high school could play safety easily. You can put them in the middle of the field. They'll intercept some passes. Von Miller at 4 speed or whatever like that. A myriad of other guys we see play closer to the line of scrimmage. Or if he was in a 4-3 under front and he was able to play a Sam linebacker and that, have him going against tight ends and rushing the passer as well, that guy at 235 pounds, then you can really have him eat, right? Think about how many pounds that you guys gained from high school going out of college. And you're not even in a strength and conditioning program like Georgia's. This guy could, if they really focus on it, you could get this guy to be 6'5", 250. Then he could probably have like Hall of Fame type athleticism. It's a big difference. That's just putting your thinking cap on as a scout. So it would take somebody to be able to talk a guy like this into like, hey, for the long term, it looks cool in high school playing against pretty much nobodies, right? Matter of fact, let's look at some of the film. All right, so check this out. Pick thrown in the middle of the field. Now I'm expecting like, all right, boom, get up field. I just don't see the super twitchiness, and he's ran down there pretty easily there. I just think if you look at it and you think about the agility and burst when you're comparing him to other third-level players, especially getting into college, I think about a guy like a Richard LeCount from Georgia, right? I think that kid is an incredible athlete. He gets the ball. If you see when he get an interception or a fumble like that, he is gone. He looks very twitchy and fast, whatever like that. This kid looks a little bit more lumbering, but that's just being out in the open field like that, having to change directions like that. You get what I'm saying? Like you see here, he gets the ball and has to kind of cut this way, and it's not really sudden and urgent with it, right? It's just more lumbering. But I think that type of stuff would not matter the closer you are to the line of scrimmage if he's on the first or second level. All right, check this out right here. Imagine this as him playing like a tight end. That would be phenomenal. You take a guy like this, right? You don't have to worry about change of direction and all that stuff like that when you're a tight end or even a ISO Z-type receiver or whatever like that. Just run the ball downfield, throw him up, have him run comebacks and everything like that, jump balls and everything like that. I think that's a very intriguing position for him too. And even running regular routes, whatever like that, you're the one running the route. You don't have to have severe agility, especially when you're 6'5", 230 pounds or whatever he'll be. So that's an intriguing spot for me as well on the offensive side of the ball. Not as necessarily as much as having him closer to the line of scrimmage, though. All right, you can see him right here. Get the ball. Now, where's the suddenness? Split those guys. Sudden. Nope, bounce to the outside. He's caught rather quickly. Just don't know. And this is at, what is this? This is at American Heritage? Yeah, it might actually be. This is like in high school or whatever like that. So think about that. So the further you get up in levels, the better the athletes are going to be. So what is the end game with him is what I'm talking about there. The end game is being a safety in the NFL. I don't see that working long term for him. But if you care about this kid and you want to see him succeed at the highest level possible, the closer he is to the line of scrimmage, man, I could see wonders being done for this kid, right? Because he does have some suddenness and athleticism to him, but it's just not at the level of elite defensive backs, right? Those are usually your most agile people there is. But it's more than enough for him being some type of outside linebacker, or even imagine him as a 4-3 defensive end. That's scary. That is absolutely scary. So put your thinking caps on. Let me know in the comment section, where do you think a guy like this ultimately will end up at, or where should he ultimately end up at? And keep in mind that he's already 220 pounds and he's not even done with his senior year of high school yet. I didn't play a snap of senior year yet. So imagine that. Let me know, guys. All right, put the thinking caps on. Be a GM. It's your boy Murf, the Underground King. Make sure you like this bad boy, and let's talk about it in the comment section, all right?
What more can I say?
Top Billin.